Emily had only been living alone for 11 days. It still felt unfamiliar. Every sound carried more weight than it used to. The house wasn't old, not particularly large, but at night, even the smallest creak seemed amplified. That evening was quiet, predictable. She locked the front door at 9:42 p.m., checked the windows, turned on the hallway light. Routine gave her a sense of control. By 11:18, she was upstairs in her bedroom, scrolling absently, the television casting a soft glow across the walls. Then, her phone buzzed. A notification. Motion detected. Front door. She frowned. No one was expected. She opened the app. The camera showed her front porch. Still. Empty. The timestamp flickered for a split second, then stabilized. 11:19 p.m. Nothing moved. Emily exhaled, almost amused at herself. Probably a glitch. She locked her phone and placed it beside her. 3 minutes passed. Then another notification. Motion detected. Front door. This time she sat up, opened the app immediately. The porch was still empty, but something was off. The door. It wasn't fully closed. A thin, almost unnoticeable gap between the frame and the lock. Her stomach tightened. She was certain she had locked it. Slowly she got out of bed. The house was silent. Too silent. As she stepped into the hallway, the floor creaked under her weight. The sound echoed more than usual, like the space below was hollow. "Hello?" she called softly. No response. She moved toward the stairs. Halfway down, she stopped. Her phone buzzed again. Motion detected. Living room. Her breath caught. The doorbell camera didn't monitor the living room. She hadn't installed any interior cameras. She opened the app. The feed took a second longer than usual to load. Then, video appeared. A grainy, slightly distorted view from inside her house, facing the living room. Emily's hands began to tremble. "That's not possible," she whispered. The camera angle was wrong. Too low, too close to the ground, like it wasn't mounted, but placed. Watching. The room was dimly lit by the hallway light. Nothing moved. For a moment. Then, a shadow crossed the frame. Fast. Too fast to identify. Emily stepped back instinctively. The staircase groaned behind her. And then, another sound. From below. A soft, uneven step. Not hers. She froze. Her eyes locked on the darkness at the bottom of the stairs. Another step. Closer this time. Measured. Not rushed. Her phone screen flickered. The camera feed glitched briefly, then updated. Now, showing the staircase, looking up, directly at her. Emily dropped the phone. The screen hit the wood with a sharp crack, but the video kept playing. Still streaming. Still watching. A figure stood at the base of the stairs. Not fully visible. Just enough. A shoulder. A side of the face. Unmoving. Then, it tilted its head. Slightly. As if studying her. Emily backed away slowly. Step by step, never breaking eye contact until her heel hit the wall. No more space. The phone on the floor buzzed again. Another notification. Motion detected. Bedroom. Her heart stopped. Emily ran. Instinct took over. She turned and sprinted back into her room, slamming the door behind her and locking it with shaking hands. Silence followed. No footsteps. No movement. Nothing. She grabbed her phone from the hallway floor and locked herself inside. Her breathing was uneven, sharp. The screen was still active, still showing the camera feed, but now it wasn't the stairs anymore. It was her bedroom, from the corner, high angle, watching the door. Emily slowly turned. Her room looked exactly the same, nothing out of place, but the angle didn't exist. There was no camera there. The closet door creaked, just slightly. Emily's chest tightened. No. She stepped back. The feed flickered. Then, the closet door in the video opened, slowly. But in real life, it stayed closed. Emily's mind struggled to process the delay or the difference. Then, something stepped out inside the feed. Tall, unnatural posture, head slightly lowered, watching, waiting. Emily couldn't breathe. Her eyes darted between the screen and the real closet, still closed, still silent. Then, a sound behind her, soft, breathing, not from the phone, from the room. She turned. Nothing. But the air felt wrong, heavy, occupied. Her phone vibrated violently in her hand. New notification. Motion detected. Behind you. The screen went black. Police arrived 14 minutes later. Emily was found sitting on the floor of her bedroom, unharmed, unresponsive. The house was searched. Every room, every window, every possible entry point. No signs of forced entry, no missing items, no footprints, no evidence. Only one thing stood out. The front door, locked, from the inside. The doorbell system was later analyzed. Technicians confirmed something impossible. The interior footage did not come from any registered device. No internal cameras were installed, no wireless connections detected, no external interference. But the data logs revealed something else. The timestamps, they didn't match real time. Every interior clip was recorded 2 minutes before it happened. Emily moved out the next day. She never returned. Weeks later, the new homeowner activated the system. Everything appeared normal for 3 days, until at exactly 11:19 p.m., a notification appeared. Motion detected. Living room. The camera feed opened. The room was empty, still, silent. Then, the front door opened slowly, and someone stepped inside. But no one was there.
Daniel had been living alone for almost a year. By that point, the silence didn't bother him anymore. In fact, he preferred it. No interruptions, no unexpected noise, just predictable routines and controlled space. Security was something he took seriously. 2 deadbolts, window sensors, and a doorbell camera he checked more often than he needed to. Not out of fear, out of habit. It started on a Thursday night, November 3rd, 2025, 10:11. Daniel was in the kitchen, rinsing a glass, when his phone vibrated on the counter. Notification. Familiar face detected. He paused. That was new. He dried his hands and picked up the phone. The app opened automatically to the front door camera. A person was standing on his porch, still, facing the door. The porch light illuminated just enough to show basic features, but not clearly. The system had highlighted the face with a thin, square outline and labeled it Daniel, 98% match. He frowned. That's not funny, he muttered. He lived alone. There was no one outside. He walked toward the front window carefully, keeping distance from the glass. The porch was empty, completely. No movement, no silhouette, nothing. He looked back at his phone. The figure was still there, unmoving, highlighted, recognized. Daniel opened the door abruptly. Cold air rushed in. Empty porch. No one. He stepped outside, scanning the yard, the street. Still nothing. When he went back in, the app refreshed. The notification disappeared. No recorded clip, no saved footage. He stood there for a moment, then locked the door again. November 3rd, 2025, 11:47. Another notification. Familiar face detected. This time, Daniel didn't move immediately. He opened the app slowly. Same porch, same angle, same figure. Standing closer now, just inches from the door. Again the label. Daniel, 99% match. His pulse quickened. The face was clearer this time. Too clear. It wasn't identical, but it was close enough to trigger something deep and instinctive. Same structure, same proportions, but slightly off. Like a version of himself that had been remembered incorrectly. He whispered, "That's not me." The figure didn't move, didn't blink, just stood there, watching the door. Daniel backed away, slowly, his eyes locked on the screen. Then, another notification. Motion detected backyard. His head snapped toward the rear of the house. The backyard camera activated. Empty. Dark. Wind moving slightly through the fence. Nothing else. He turned back to the front door feed. The figure was gone. Daniel didn't sleep that night.
Daniel sat on the couch, lights on, television muted. His phone rested in his hand. He hadn't stopped checking it. Every few minutes, every notification, every shadow. Then it happened again. Familiar face detected, but this time it wasn't the front door. Location, indoor camera. Daniel froze. He didn't own any indoor cameras. The app opened anyway. A live feed loaded. Grainy, low light, from inside his house, facing the hallway. Daniel's breath slowed. On the screen, someone was standing in the hallway, back turned, same height, same build, wearing his clothes. He looked up. The hallway was empty. Then back to the phone. The figure hadn't moved, still facing away. Daniel stood up slowly. Every step felt measured, heavy, unnatural. He walked toward the hallway. His eyes shifted constantly between reality and the screen. Still nothing in front of him, but on the phone, the figure was closer now, as if reacting to him. Then, the figure tilted its head, slightly, to the side. Daniel stopped. His chest tightened. That's not possible. The movement on the screen didn't match his position. It was delayed or early. He couldn't tell. Then, the figure turned, slowly, on the screen, facing the camera, facing him. Daniel dropped the phone. The screen cracked slightly on impact, but the feed remained active. The face was visible now, fully. It was him, but not exactly. The eyes were wrong, too still, too focused, like they weren't looking at the camera, but through it, at him. A new notification appeared over the feed. User added to system. Daniel stared. What system? The lights flickered, once, twice. Then, his phone buzzed again. Familiar face registered. He looked down, slowly, almost afraid to confirm it. The screen displayed a profile, a new user with his name, his face. Status, primary resident. Another line appeared beneath it, delayed, as if typed in real time. Status updated, duplicate detected. Daniel stepped back. The house felt different, occupied, not physically, but structurally, as if something inside it now understood him. The hallway light turned off. Darkness filled the space. The screen became the only source of light, still showing the feed, still showing him, standing there. But in real life, the hallway was empty. The figure on the screen smiled, slightly, then spoke, without sound. lips moving slowly, deliberately. Daniel leaned closer, trying to read them. 3 words. You are outside. The feed cut. Police reports later confirmed no breach, no entry, no tampering. But one detail remained: the system logs. At exactly 02:14, the house registered 2 active occupants. Only 1 ever left. Lucas wasn't paranoid. At least, not before that weekend. He lived alone in a small house at the edge of a quiet neighborhood, one of those areas where nothing really happened. No noise, no traffic, no strangers walking around at night. Which is why he installed a doorbell camera in the first place. Not because he needed it, but because it made things feel controlled. December 12th, 2025, 2036. The first ring came while he was cooking, a sharp, clean sound. Ding! Lucas glanced toward the front door. Waited. No second ring. He wiped his hands and checked the camera feed. The porch was empty. No one standing there. No movement. He opened the door anyway. Cold air. Silence. Nothing. He stepped out slightly, looked left and right. Empty street. He went back inside, locked the door. Didn't think much of it. 21:12. It happened again. Ding! This time, Lucas didn't move immediately. He checked the app first. Doorbell camera, empty. No person. No motion detected. No recorded clip. Just a clean, live feed. He frowned. That wasn't normal. Even wind or small movement usually triggered something. 21:13. Ding! Again. Closer this time. Sharper. As if someone had pressed it harder. Lucas stared at the phone. Still nothing. The porch remained empty. Perfectly still. A thought crossed his mind. Not logical, but immediate. What if someone was standing too close to the door? Too close for the camera to see? He approached slowly. Every step measured. Quiet. He stopped just before the door. Listening. Nothing. Then, a sound. Very faint. On the other side. Breathing. Lucas froze. It wasn't loud, but it was there. Close. Right behind the door. Ding! The doorbell rang again. This time, he felt it. The vibration through the wood, through the handle, as if whoever was pressing it was leaning against the door. Lucas stepped back immediately. His heart started racing. He grabbed his phone, opened the camera again. Empty. Still empty. He whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. Then, slowly, the handle moved. Just slightly. A soft metallic click. Lucas backed away further, his eyes locked on the door, waiting, expecting it to open. It didn't. Instead, his phone buzzed. New notification. Motion detected. Front door. He opened it instantly. The feed loaded. For a split second, there was something there. Too close to the lens. A face. Distorted by proximity. Unfocused. Then, it disappeared. Lucas had turned off the lights in the living room. Not to hide, but because the reflections on the window made it impossible to see outside. Now the glass was black, clear. He could see the porch directly, without the phone. He stood at a distance, watching, waiting. Nothing moved. Then, ding! Lucas didn't flinch this time. He was already staring at the door, already focused. No one appeared. No shadow, no movement. But the sound came again. Ding! And this time, he noticed something. The timing. The rings weren't random. They were measured, consistent. He checked the phone again. Still no motion detected, still no recording. Then, a third sound. Not the bell. Something else. A knock. Slow. Heavy. 3 times. Lucas stepped closer to the door, without thinking, without deciding, just drawn. He leaned in, carefully. And then, he heard it. His own voice from the other side. "Who's there?" Lucas stepped back instantly, shaking his head. "No, no!" The voice came again. Perfect. Identical. "Open the door." Lucas grabbed the handle, not to open it, but to make sure it was locked. It was. Still secure. Then, his phone buzzed again. Live audio activated. He looked down slowly. The app had opened by itself. The camera feed wasn't video anymore. It was audio. And through it, he could hear himself, standing outside, breathing, waiting. "Open the door." Lucas dropped the phone. The doorbell rang again. Ding! Then, a final notification appeared on the screen. Motion detected. Interior. Lucas froze. The sound came from behind him. A soft step. Inside the house. He turned slowly. The hallway was dark. Empty. But the air felt different. Occupied. His phone vibrated one last time. He didn't want to look, but he did. The screen showed the front door camera from outside. Lucas was standing there, facing the door, waiting. And behind him, inside the house, something moved. The feed cut. Police reports found no signs of forced entry, no damage, no prints. But one detail remained: the doorbell system log. At exactly 22:06, the system recorded a successful door access. The lock was never opened.